Tonight on the Daily Wrap, families of the victims of that horrific South Carolina shooting confront the man responsible for murdering 9 people in cold blood in a black church in Charleston. We have the very latest. Bernie Sanders surging in New Hampshire. Former Governor John Sununu joins us here to tell us why. And Brian Williams speaks out for the first time since being suspended from NBC. Scenes from an impossibly awkward mea culpa coming up. We discuss all of that, plus potluck and yay and nay. This is the Daily Wrap, live from New York City. And welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Joe Concha, along with my co-host, Rick Unger, Sirius XM. You got some friends here tonight, I understand?
It's all Sirius XM night here, baby.
It won't be anything serious, though,
It won't be anything
serious.
Not with these guys.
If the preview is any indication, absolutely. Meanwhile, host of the Wilco Majority on Sirius XM, Andrew Wilco, is here. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Second time. And finally, Forbes.com contributor, former press secretary for Senator Trent Lott, and president of Empire Solutions, a New York-based strategic communications and growth strategies firm. Tom Basile is here. Tom.
It's actually Scott Walker. Can't you see that?
It does look a
And
little
he's a
like
Sirius
Scott
XM
Walker.
radio host.
Yeah, and he's a Sirius XM
and we're
radio
serious,
host.
as we said as well.
It's great to be
Walker.
here. Thank you for having me.
Or a very young Mike Krzyzewski, I could even go with.
Actually, I can see
Winningest
that
coach
too.
of all time, you'll take it. Okay, let's get right to the Daily Download. And today, Charleston church shooter Dylan Roof sat through a bail hearing with Magistrate Judge James B. Gosnell, in which family members of the victims got to address the defendant. But before they could say a word, Judge Gosnell made this statement.
We have victims, 9 of them. But we also have victims on the other side. There are victims on this young man's side of the family. Nobody would have ever thrown them into the whirlwind of events that they have been thrown into. We must find it in our heart at some point in time, not only to help those that are victims, but to also help his family as well.
So what did he just say? Did he say that parents are victims as well?
One of the oddest things I think I've ever seen in a courtroom, and I've seen a lot of things happen in courtrooms. Yes, I mean, basically what he was saying is there's lots of victims here, and keep in mind that that courtroom was filled with family members of the real victims, who, the way they do things in South Carolina, they actually come in at the outset to say something about, you know, they're speaking for those who've been killed. And the judge acknowledges them, but then feels the need to acknowledge the family members of the accused. It was, many people are saying inappropriate. I think that's being kind.
Yeah,
it was beyond bizarre.
Bizarre is the word I was looking for myself.
I don't think there's much debate here. This is a tragedy. I think we'd all say that. I don't know. I get it. He's saying that the family members have this person in their family who was a whirlwind of events. I don't know that anybody cares to talk about that right now.
Not in that courtroom.
At all.
Right.
Look,
Tom, wrong place, wrong time.
This was bizarre, and this is exactly why you shouldn't have cameras in the courtroom, in my opinion. Because you have a judge who is trying to get his 10 minutes of fame. He's grandstanding. Do your damn job. Get the arraignment over with. Dispose of the case that is in front of you and move on. Don't drag this out. Don't make speeches. Just get this kid in and out of his cell, get people in and out of that courtroom as fast as possible, and get the process moving.
Memories of Judge Ito, perhaps.
Exactly.
Because that had cameras. Supreme Court doesn't have cameras. And maybe that's a reason for that.
Even he wasn't that bad when it all started. He kind of became a media star as it went along. It was strange. And bear in mind that the defendant himself, Mr. Roop, was not in the courtroom. He was at the jail on a video link. I don't know what the man was thinking. I honestly don't. I heard the criticism actually on our monitors as I was writing in the background. I'm going, okay, what are they picking on this guy for? And then I went and looked. I went, well, okay, I understand why they're picking on this guy. That was really just
But prosecutors
wrong.
make bizarre statements too. I mean,
yes,
we
they
saw
do,
this with
but the
going back
judge
to the
isn't
Duke lacrosse
supposed to.
rape case. We saw Mike
do.
Nifong.
They do.
He was out there calling these guys hooligans right from the
That's
get-go.
right.
So you'd want to think that neither the prosecution nor the people behind the bench would be making any statements and keep the trial fair and speedy.
But prosecutors have a different role. Attorneys have a different role than the judge, and this is not the judge's role. He's trying to make social commentary
We don't
here.
care how he feels.
Exactly.
We only want him to rule on the evidence.
Exactly.
And to keep the rules of court. That's what he is there for. Nothing this. It's not his job to give us his feelings on anything.
Gravitas, right? That's what he has to show there
He's
and
gotta
lead by
know
example.
he has to rule on evidence issues.
When
That's
those
what he's
cameras
there
are in the
for.
courtroom, it's a different story with these judges.
But you also know that if you're in the trial of the moment, that there's a possible book deal.
Sure.
You know, as disgusting as it could be, you know that somebody's in that person's ear like, hey, play this right. There's going to be, news appearances and book deals and op-eds.
Do you think he was thinking that far ahead? Or do you
I
think
don't- I don't
really
know.
he
I don't
felt
know.
maybe
It's
as a dad, like if my kid ever did this, boy, I'd feel horrible, and maybe he was just trying to bring people together in some capacity?
He may have
Are
had
judges
good
supposed to bring
intent.
people together,
No, they're
though?
not.
No,
exactly.
it's not their job.
No, but I don't think he was thinking book deal or
I
TV
don't know
deal
what he
either.
was thinking. And he may
That
have
doesn't
had
look
good
at the-
intent. It's still not his job to make a speech.
And
But he's also the magistrate judge.
Right,
So
he's not the trial
Yeah,
judge.
he's not the trial judge.
Even the trial judge would have been wrong to make a speech.
Absolutely.
It's just
Even more
not-
wrong.
Maybe that's why he's the magistrate judge.
That might be why he's only a magistrate.
This will
judge.
sound like a joke when the first 3 words are going to sound like a joke. My cousin Vinny, but when you look back to Fred Gwynn and the way he was a judge, no nonsense. That's what I want. A guy who isn't putting on a show. So we're all in agreement.
You know how much I appreciate that reference.
Of course. Well, you were a judge in Beverly Hills at one point.
No. My son-in-law's father directed my cousin Vinny.
Really?
Yes, Jonathan Lynn.
All right. Machio
Great
was
movie.
So we gave him a little pitch there.
Sure.
Good stuff.
Machio was a good choice. Marissa Tomei won a
That's right,
Best
she
Supporting
did.
Actress award, I believe. Anyway, we're going way sideways in this segment. It took less than 48 hours for police to catch and get a confession from Dylan Roof. Why did he do it? He wanted to create a race war. So where is this racist behavior coming from? Senator Hillary Clinton, or former Senator Hillary Clinton, 2016 hopeful, suggests political rhetoric may be the cause.
The people who do this kind of dastardly, horrible act are a very small percentage. But unfortunately, the public discourse is sometimes hotter and more negative than it should be, which can, in my opinion, trigger people who are less than stable.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
A recent entry into the Republican presidential campaign said some very inflammatory things about Mexicans. Everybody should stand up and say, that's not acceptable. You don't talk like that on talk radio. You don't talk like that on, the kind of political campaigns. No, but I think he is emblematic. So I want people to understand it's not about him, it's about everybody.
So when Bill Parcells was a coach of the Dallas Cowboys, he would not refer to Terrell Owens by name. He only called him the player. And I found it interesting that Hillary Clinton there would not refer to Donald Trump by name, just a candidate who just entered the race. Did she have a point?
Well, look, I took her point. I didn't particularly like the things that Donald Trump said about Mexicans either in his speech. However, suggesting in any way, shape, or form that anything Donald Trump had to say had anything to do with motivating this kind of
Quite
attack,
a stretch,
I'm not
Andrew.
buying it.
Yeah, okay, I don't remember this application of language being analyzed when Lee Boyd Malvo and John Allen Muhammad were killing white people all over D.C.
Well, we're having a
and I don't
presidential
think that
race now.
was the rhetoric driving the Students for a Democratic Society and the Weather Underground when they were bombing people, or can we just say there are people who are nuts and it has nothing to do with talk radio or Donald Trump?
Yeah,
Just so
we
the
can.
audience is aware, you're referring to the snipers in Washington.
Yes,
that
the
we're going
DC
through. Right.
sniper.
Yeah.
It's funny how quickly Democrats make this about the air fingers, quote, other side, but when people who may be the most extreme in their ideology are doing things that are violent and murderous, well, there's just a couple of crackpots, and there's crackpots everywhere in society. I'm sorry, I'm not going to take responsibility for this guy because I do a talk radio show
I don't think
that's
you
conservative.
should. I agree.
I
with you.
refuse.
I don't think you should.
Tom?
Who knew Trump was this influential? Look, there's a reason why she doesn't mention Trump's name is because she's trying to paint all Republicans in this light.
Right.
Look, we are looking at this is a woman who is running an angry campaign. She's an angry, unlikable individual
How
who,
do you know?
over
She
the
hasn't
last
said
week,
anything.
over the last week, she has said Republicans hate gays, they hate immigrants, they want to deport everybody. minority, they want to take away your health care,
Voting
she's
rights.
scaring seniors, black voting rights, minority voting rights. It has just been more negative campaigning
do we
from
get to
Hillary
talk
Clinton.
about what the Republicans are saying about her by any chance?
They're
Because
just
that's
as
all
wrong.
sweetness and nice,
They're just
right?
as wrong.
Now, look, I mean, this is all politics, but I am with you guys on the fact that suggesting that Donald Trump.
It was
But Tim,
but
we got to
it
go.
wasn't necessary.
We got to go, unfortunately. But,
It was wrong.
this is the first example of what we're going to see, where what Donald Trump says is what every Republican thinks, and this is going to be the strategy we see going forward. Anyway, can a flag really be blamed for all of this? Keep it right here. This is Newsmax.